Avery Smith, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. What do you prefer to be called?
Avery's fine. It's
Okay.
no big deal.
Awesome. Well, I'm just here to get some background information of the case. See how you can help out. W- Why don't we start off with you just giving me some contact information?
Yeah, no problem. Avery Smith. You can get me at cell phone number is 763-242-5812. The home or the office phone is 701-223-0259. I'm mostly there. I'm mainly there, but on rare occasions I'm gone, and you can reach me at my cell. But um, home address is 532 Queens Court, Midlands Drive, Midlands Center, and you guys have the office address, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Also, so what is your job title?
So I am the department head of the forensic science department here in the Midlands Center. So I work with the other forensic scientists, and I work kind of coincide with the police department here in Midlands. But the director of the forensic science department is kind of my job title.
Okay, and what is the job description for that?
Yeah, I do various tests. I kind of review the statistical significance of different tests, kind of like the intoxicator. Kind of work with other cases like DUI cases. Kind of describe what the numbers sort of mean. I kind of oversee all the lab work. Um, on rare occasions, I testify in court and kind of provide some statistical importance of what the numbers means essentially.
Mhm.
So if
So you've testified in court before.
yeah, a handful of times.
How many cases would you say you've testified?
I think 42 or so. There's been a lot of DUI cases in the area that kind of use the intoxicator.
So they're usually DUI cases that you testify in.
Yeah, and the defense kind of wants to refute the numbers that the intoxicator kind of spits out, and so they kind of challenge. They call me in and kind of challenge that,
Okay.
but none have been successful yet. So
Okay. Well, how about your education? Where'd you go to school?
yeah, I got a biostatistical degree, undergraduate degree at the University of North Carolina, and then I got a PHS at the University of Maryland. Came back to the Midwest, sort of, and got a degree in or a master's degree in biochemistry and biostatistical data at Yale University.
Have you got any awards?
A handful. I mean, I've been recognized for my kind of work as the creator of the intoxicator, but other than that, nothing out of the ordinary. I kind of just put my head down and do some hard work.
Okay. Have you ever taught before or
Like
anything
a
related?
class.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a TA for a teacher back in my master's program, and that was a biostats course.
Mm-hmm.
So I taught some numbers with that, but that was years ago. I think that was back in the 70s, so it doesn't really relate to today. But yeah, I have taught a course.
Okay. And so where else have you worked again?
Let's see. I worked at the statistical analysis lab in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I was not the head of that lab, and then I did that for about 8 years, and then I came back to the Midlands Center. And from 2001 to currently, I've worked as either the second in command or the director of the Midlands Forensic Lab.
Okay. So overall, what is your relationship to the Danny Godossin case so far? Like, what have you done, that's been directly related to the case?
Yeah. So I got a call that night from Officer Foster, and that was about 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
He said,
"Do you usually talk to Officer Foster in cases?"
Yeah, or I talked. The responding officers kind of call in and say, "Hey, we might be looking at DUI case," so they'll do the standard infield tests, and then we'll come back. They'll give you a baseline, and then they'll call me if the baseline kind of indicates what they're thinking it is, so a DUI, and so then I'll calibrate or make sure that one of the intoxicators are working well, but. That night, Officer Foster called 1 o'clock. It was September 25th. Luckily, I was at the office still. I was calibrating the intoxicator. We were getting it back to 0.08. And he said, Danny, we have an issue with a driver. Swerved and struck a tree. They came in. I think about 20 minutes later, they arrived there. Um, Told Officer Foster to detain Danny Dawson in a cell. Don't let him out of your eye or out of your watch, because some things that um, defendants try to do is try to trick the intoxicator by doing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, Officer Foster watched him for another 10 minutes, and then before I administered the test, I had chatted with Danny Dawson, for a little, like I think 5-10 minutes before doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we ran the tests. The results came back, and I don't think I've seen Danny Dawson since.
Okay. When you saw Danny, how was he acting?
He appeared like he had been drinking, like a normal person. He was stumbled a little bit when he tried to get up, slurred words. He was loud. He was loud when he was talking, which kind of indicates that you've been drinking. But not. I mean, he was fully cooperative. You know, nothing too out of the ordinary.
Okay. And what were all the tests that were performed again?
Yeah. So Officer Foster performed 3. It's a standard that you have to perform 3 in Midlands. It's a standard that you have to perform 3 infield sobriety tests. That kind of gives you a baseline. And, you know, that could be anything from walking a straight line to putting your finger on your nose. And then he administered a BRAC test with a breath alcohol concentrate test, which is a standard blow in. And he administered that, which kind of, I don't know the numbers on that, but he administered that. It's indicated that he had been driving while impaired. And so he called me, and we ran the intoxicator on him. We ran it twice, which is also standard that we run it twice. And those were, I think, the 5-6 tests that we ran.
Okay. So he wasn't legally able to drive?
With alcohol in him under the laws, no, he was not. The results from the intoxicator, that the first test was .194, the second test was .191, and so we averaged those two out, and the intoxicators read that he, for an average, was .19.
Okay.
Which is double, a little bit over two times the legal limit. So as a legal standpoint, no, he could not drive.
Okay. Does anything ever go wrong with these tests? Does anything malfunction, or could there be like an error in these tests?
Typically not. That's why we kind of watch them for 15 minutes, because, you know, if you take some mouthwash in or you take a sip of alcohol or mints, that kind of skews the numbers up. And so that can really drastically raise the numbers to something that, you know, wouldn't be normal for a human to have in them. And so they try to do that, but we also have a mouthpiece on the intoxicator 8000 that prevents extra saliva from getting in there and kind of skewing with it. And so what people try to do when they're doing this is try to spit into it or vomit or whatever, burp, and that can skew it. But it's never, they don't successfully do it, because if they do burp or throw up or something, those tests are thrown out. We have them sit there for another 15 minutes, and then we run it right back.
Okay. And is any type of training ever required for these tests?
Yep. I'm certified with the board. I'm the head. I'm also the board of the training, certification training, and so I am certified to operate the machine. Very few people are certified in the Midland Center. It's not a very complicated step, but it's a long process to getting certified. And so, but yes, you have to be certified to work the intoxicator.
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you, Avery Smith. That's all the questions I have for today. Thank you for coming out here and meeting with me and talking.
Thank you.